Hello, welcome to this week's Level 1 class. So we're going to work on the abs a little bit more, develop things a step further. Next month, just like the Express class, we're going to work on our backs a little bit more. So get onto the hands and knees and get started. So hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Pinch the shoulder blades together, tuck the elbows in. We're going to bring the left leg back behind the body, right arm up in front, and into circles with the heel in the hand. Keep the hips and shoulders still. And nice big wide circles. Keep the shoulders pinched together, so make sure with the right hand the shoulder doesn't creep up towards the ear. And then change directions. Good. So squeezing the abs nice and tight as we draw the circles. Bring the right leg back, left arm up in front. Again, don't let the shoulder come to the ear. Keep the shoulder blades pinched together. That right elbow is tucked in, so it's pointing towards the toes. And keep the hips and shoulders nice and still. Nice big round circles. One more, and change directions. Good. Keep the body still, squeezing the abs. Keep that right elbow pointing backwards towards the toes. And shoulder blades away from the ears. And bring the arms and legs down. We're going to loosen up the hips and the back. So tuck the elbows in, left foot comes up and out to the side, look around your left arm, back in, right foot up and out, back in, left foot up and out, and in, right foot, left foot, and one last one, right foot, and back in. So bring the feet back together, tuck the elbows in. We're going to drop the head down, push the ribs up nice and high to the ceiling, sucking the stomach in, and then drop the ribs down, lift the head up, looking up in front, drop the head down again, ribs to the ceiling, drop the ribs back down, lift the head up, looking up in front, drop the head down, ribs up again, ribs back down, lifting the head up, one last one, drop the head down, push the ribs to the ceiling, push the hands away from your body, and then look down between the fingertips again. Shoulder blades are pinched together, elbows are tucked in, lift the knees up off the mat. I'm going to walk the feet backwards as far as you can. If we can come into a plank, perfect. Make sure the hips aren't up in the air, so keep a nice straight line from the shoulders to the feet. Squeezing the abs, tuck the hips underneath the body, so we keep the back as flat as we can. Shoulder blades are pinched together. Draw the chin in. And then walk the knees forward and rest the knees down. Good. We're going to do one more then. So, hands below the shoulders again. Knees below the hips. Tuck the toes underneath the knees. Lift the knees up off the mat. You can bring the feet out a little bit wider, it'll be easier. And you actually bring the hands in a little bit closer. And this one will be easier again. We're going to lift the right hand up and down. Left. Right, left, right, last one, left, and then rest back down. So you can see what I was doing, so I want to lean back a little bit more here. We don't want that to happen. We're going to keep the knees directly below the hips and the hands directly below the shoulders. So try not to lean back as we do those. Perfect. Turn over onto your back now. So rest the head on your towel or your head block. Hands by the side. Get yourself comfortable. We're going to imprint the spine. Bring the legs to tabletop. We're going to tap the right foot off the mat and back. And then the left foot. So doing a little bit of a warm up with the abs. Good. Focus on squeezing the back into the mat all the time. As your feet come down halfway, reinforce that imprint. Really push down. Good. What we want is we want to keep the back consistently pushing into the mat. We don't want to lift just before the toes tap. Good, pushing down nice and hard, reinforce just as the toes tap. So the toes are 2 to 3 inches off the mat, push even harder again. One last one, really, really hard squeeze back into the mat, and then bring the feet down. Perfect. Now, a little bit of a warm up for the glutes. So we roll the hips back as far as we can. So roll the hips back and lift up. Keep the rib cage down and nice and tight. Bring the pelvis back down onto the mat. Roll the hips back, squeeze the rib cage down, and lift. Lower back down, and relax. Arch the back, let the ribs flare out, imprint the spine, bring the rib cage down, roll the pelvis back, really squeeze the ribs down, lift up, back down, 2 more. Good. One last one, nice smooth movement, squeezing those rib cage together, and then back down onto the mat. Perfect. So we're going to grab our Pilates circle if you have it. If not, you're going to get one of your cushions. So have the feet about 6 inches apart, about 15 centimeters between the heels, circular cushion between the thighs, relax the upper body. When you start to use the abs, you find sometimes you start to tense the shoulders, you start to arch the neck back. So just relax the body as much as you can and squeeze the circle in and out like this. So we're getting the adductors in the inside. We're now working the pelvic floor at the bottom of the core now. Good, nice smooth movements. Perfect. One last one, squeeze and relax. Next we're going to do the same again. We're going to squeeze, but this time one leg at a time. Drop the left leg out and in, and then the right leg and in. Have your thumbs on the 2 hip bones here, and as you drop the leg out, make sure that side of the pelvis doesn't drop down to the mat. So as my right leg goes out, I want to keep my right pelvis level. As my left leg goes out, make sure the left hip doesn't twist with it. So squeeze the circle, drop the right leg out, make sure that right thumb doesn't drop down to the mat, and left leg. And right, and left. One last one each side. Right, and left. And come back in. Grab the circle, have the rest. So you've got your pelvis running across here and your hip joint below that. What we're trying to do is separate out the movements of the hip joint from the pelvis. Even though just a couple of inches away from each other, we want the body to be able to just isolate one joint at a time. Next one, circle back between the thighs, same position. Bring the feet in nice and close to the hips, as tight as you can. Squeeze the circle, lift and lower. 1, 2. Keep the circle on the cushion squeezed. 3. Good. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. One last one. Hold the hips up. Keep the hips nice and high. Fingers just around the back of the pelvis. Pull the rib cage down. Drop the 2 knees apart and together. 1, 2. As the knees drop out to the side, make sure your pelvis doesn't sink to the mat. As the knees drop out, the pelvis will want to drop down. Don't. Keep pushing up nice and high. Rib cages are pulled down and in. 7. 3 more. 8. Push the hips to the ceiling. 9. Last one. 10. Roll the pelvis back down and grab the circle. Have a little rest again. We're going to leave the circle out to the side for now. We're going to come back to it. We're going to bring the right knee into the chest, hands around the knee, in nice and tight, and we're going to lift the hips and lower. 1, 2, and imagine your knee comes in an arc this way. 3, and not straight to the ceiling like that. 4, 5, 6, 7. The tighter you have your knee to the chest, the less of a lift you'll feel. 8, 9, 10, and back down. Right foot onto the mat, left knee to the chest, relax the shoulders back, and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember that knee comes in an arc, trying to go over your head. 8, 9, and the last one, 10, and back down. Rest the hips down. Just going to grab our circle again. This time I'm going to imprint the spine, bring the legs to tabletop, circle between the thighs. This time I'm going to focus on the shins. So we're going to keep those shins parallel. So you're going to squeeze and relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep imprinting. 6. Keep the knees above the hips. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Grab the circle, bring the feet down. As you squeeze in, at any point, the distance between your knees should be the same as the distance between your feet. So you don't want to see the feet coming together before the knees come in, and you don't want to see the knees coming together and leaving the feet back out to the side. So you want the shins staying parallel the whole time, getting thinner and wider as you squeeze the circle. So we're going to try that again, but one leg at a time. So relax the shoulders, imprint the spine, pulling the ribs down as well. Circle between the thighs, shins are parallel, squeeze the circle, relax the shoulders, drop the right leg to the side, the shin stays parallel, and squeeze. Left leg, and squeeze. Right leg, and squeeze. Left, and squeeze. Good. Remember, don't leave the heel behind as you drop the leg out to the side. The heel and knee all go in one movement. Perfect. One last one. Keep the chin tucked in, shoulders relax. Grab the circle and bring the feet down. So what we're trying to do there is make sure the knees don't control all the movement. The whole leg to move out as one unit and back in. And takes what we call valgus and varus forces through the knee. And there also put the knee under a lot of stress. And a lot of knee pain comes from the valgus knee when the knee starts to twist inwards instead of staying out to the side or forward. Next what we're going to do, circular cushion back between the thighs. We're going to have the feet about 7 inches apart again. We're going to keep the hips on the mat, squeeze the cushion, relax the upper body, rib cage is pulled down. We're going to extend the right leg, toes pointing to the ceiling. We're going to slide the right foot to the side, let the heel lead the move, keep the toes pointing up, and squeeze in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure the circle doesn't pop out. 5, 6, keep the left knee still. 7, 8, 9, one last one. 10. Bend the right knee. Give the legs a rest for a second. With this one, make sure the toe stays pointing to the ceiling all the time. So as you drop the leg out, you want to twist the toes out to the side, and we want to stop that. Squeeze the circle again. Shoulders are relaxed. Straighten the left leg. Remember, toes point straight upwards. Slide the left heel out and back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, keeping that right knee still. 9, last one, smooth move to the leg coming in and out. Bend the left knee and bring the foot down. So we're practicing here is keeping the foot in a nice position as you bring it out to the side. So when we bring the foot out, we want to turn the feet out naturally. And if we're going to move forward, it puts the knee into that valgus, that position where you put the knee under a lot of stress. Leave the circle down to the side for now. We're going to do our first set of hundreds. So we're going to imprint the spine, rib cage comes down, hands by the side, reach the hands to the bottom of the mat, head and shoulders up, and beat the hands. 2, 4, 5, breathe out. 2, 4, 5. Good. Get the bottom of the shoulder blades up nice and high above the mat. Imagine being dragged up by your chest up towards the ceiling, and keep the chin tucked in. Good. Beating the hands in and out. Perfect. Nice smooth breaths. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 4, 5, and in. 2, 4, 5, and out. 2, 4, 5, and in. 2, 4, 5, out. 2, 4, 5. Keep the knees together and feet together. One last breath in and out. 2, 4, 5. Rest the head down onto the mat. So you can see there, I naturally want to have my feet out a little bit wider. We want to try and bring them in together. So we start with the adductors on the inside of the thigh. When we bring the legs together, we contract the pelvic floor muscles in the base of the pelvis, and we start to tie them into the abs. And we'll get to work the whole core together with that exercise. So we're going to try that again, this time in tabletop. So imprint the spine, legs to tabletop, knees and ankles together. Reach the hands to the bottom of the mat, pull the shoulders away from the ears. Head and shoulders up and beat the hands. 2, 4, 5, breathe out. 2, 4, 5, and in. 2, 4, 5, and out. 2, 4, 5. Remember being dragged up by the chest. Keep the shoulder blades pinched together and keep the chin tucked in, so don't stick the chin forward. Good, and breathe in. 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 4, 5. Keep the knees together. Knees and ankles at 90 degrees. Good, and in. 2, 4, 5, and out. 2, 4, 5. 2 more breaths in. Head and shoulders up. Chin stays tucked in. And last breath in. 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Rest the head down. And bring the feet down onto the mat. Good. Next exercise is going to be a little, sure, that's going to be the one after the next one. We're going to straighten the legs down onto the mat. I'm getting ahead of myself. Bring the hands back behind the head. And we're going to do 10 roll-ups. So we're going to reach forward for all of these. So arms forward, chin to the chest. Rolling up nice and tall. And push the chest forward at the end. Control back down onto the mat. Squeezing the shoulder blades. And roll up. 2. And back down. Good. Nice and slow. On the way up. And on the way back down, just control the whole way. It doesn't have to be too slow, but don't drop at the last minute. Good. And then back down. Perfect. We're halfway. I think. I might have miscounted one. I'll be nice and adding it on. Good. 4 more. Up nice and tall. Back down. 3 more. Good. Last 2. And back down. And then one last one, rolling up. Good, and stay up and sitting here. What I want you to do next is I want you to twist around and I want you to get a chair. Or if you have one of those gym balls like this, I want you to bring your feet down onto it. So if you have a chair or a couch in front of you, just twist the body around so you can have your heels on the couch. Just the end of them like that. If you've got a gym ball, you can bring the feet on top of the ball. We're going to bring the hands back by the side. We're going to lift and lower the hips. It's like a bridge, but this time the legs are straight. When we bend the knees, we work the glutes a lot. When the legs straight, we work the hamstrings back here. I want to bring a little bit of this in now as well in the next few weeks. So hands by the side, pinch the shoulder blades together, imprint the spine, pull the ribs down, and lift the hips and lower. And imagine being pulled up to the ceiling by the hips. Lift and lower. As you do this, you be tempted to arch back and let the ribs flare. Don't. Squeeze the ribs nice and tight, pushing up through the hips and lower down. 3, 4, shoulders are relaxed. 5. If your feet are on a couch or on a chair, it's not as wobbly, so you're fine. You can have the hands resting by the side. If you're on one of the gym balls, it'll be a little shakier, so you can bring the hands out nice and wide to make it a little bit easier. A little bit nicer to yourself. Good. Relax the shoulders as much as you can. Because you're lifting up onto the shoulders, you feel tension naturally building in them, into the traps. You want to try to relax that. Good. 2 more. Back down. One last one. Lift the hips up and lower back down. And rest. So we're going to get rid of those gym balls if you have them. Leave them down to the side or twist yourself back around so you can see TV properly or the laptop. Perfect. Next we're going to do a little bit more lower ab work. Hands by the side again. Imprint the spine. Legs to tabletop. Straighten the legs to the ceiling and small kicks back and forth. 2. Remember, focus on the imprint. 3. Roll the pelvis back. 4. And squeeze the back into the mat. 6. 7, 8, shoulders relaxed, chin is tucked in. One last one. Good. Bend the knees and bring the feet down onto the mat. Perfect. Next one, we're going back to a little bit more upper abs. We're going to come up into boat pose. So we're going to imprint the spine. So it's a teaser prep. Legs to tabletop. Hands behind the head. Arms forward and roll up onto the back of the hips. Chest forward at the end to stabilize yourself. And then round the spine, coming back down. 1, 2. Try and keep the knees together as you do this. 3, and back down. 4, and down. 5, back down. Halfway. 6, keep the knees together, keep the shins parallel. So there's a little gap between your knees. Keep that same gap at the feet. 3 more. Chest forward. Good. Last 2. Back down. One last one. Rolling up. Chest comes forward. Keep the knees and shins parallel. and back down onto the mat and resting. Straighten the legs down. We're going to roll up into sitting, chest comes forward. Bring the hands back either side of the mat. We're going to start to do a little bit for our back. So we're going to pinch the shoulder blades together. So we're putting some weight back through the hands, and we're going to extend the right knee and the left knee. So we're working our quad. Good. Perfect. Keep the knees nice and high so they're in line with each other. So the only thing that's moving here is the shin and the foot. And everything below the knee is moving. So we don't want you to kick out the leg. We don't want the thigh dropping. Knees stay in line the whole time. Perfect. 2 more. And last one. Good. And then relax. Rest the shoulders for a little bit. We're going to do 2 legs together this time. So bring the hands back and a little bit wider so you can sit back into the hands. Knees are together, chest comes forward, chin is tucked in. Even better if you look straight up towards the ceiling, so there's a straight line through your spine. Extend the 2 legs and bend. And again, just the shins and the feet move, so the knees stay in the same position. 3. Between each rep, rest the heels down. 5, 6, 7. Keep the chin tucked in, the shoulder blades squeezed. 8. Think about twisting the elbows so they face each other, the point of the elbows. Good. Last one. And then back down. Relax. If the elbows start to come out to the side and point outwards, you'll find the shoulders round. If you try and make the point of the elbow point towards each other and squeeze in behind your back, you feel those shoulder blades coming together. Next one we're going to do, you can come back up a little bit higher again, put the weight down through the arms, rotate those elbows inwards, the point of the elbow coming in, so you feel the shoulders really squeeze together. Extend the right leg, lower and lift. 1, 2, 3. So what I really want you to do is focus on the shoulder blades, twist the elbows in as much as you can. 6, 7, 8. Stick the chest forward, twist those arms. 9, one last one. 10. Bend the knee, extend the left, lower and lift. 1, 2. Keep the toes pointing up. 3. If you rotate out, you're going to get the iliopsoas, the hip flexor deep in the abdomen working. If we keep the toes pointing to the ceiling, we get more of the TFL, little muscle on the outside, and you get your groin muscles working to keep the leg in a better alignment. 8. Toes pointing up. 9. Last one, squeeze those shoulder blades. 10. And bend the knee. Come onto the stomach next. So resting down. You can move the head block out of the way. 2 hands on top of one another. Rest the head in the back of the hands. Flatten your back by pulling the rib cage down towards the pelvis. Keep squeezing the rib cage as tight as you can and lift the arms, head and chest and lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull the shoulder blades back. 6. Just a small lift. 7, 8. Squeezing the bum muscles as well as the abs. And the last one, 10. And lower back down. The next one we're going to do, you can make it really easy or you can make it really hard. We're just going to lift the leg up off the mat a couple of inches. What makes it easy is you forget about the abs and you just lift the leg up and down. What makes it hard, squeeze the abs really tight, keep the back flat and just lift the legs, just lift the thigh up off the mat without letting the spine arch. Good. So keep squeezing the abs, squeeze, 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 and just lift the leg up an inch. And you find it gets quite tight. You can't lift them much higher. That's what I want you focusing on. So really squeeze those abs, small little lifts. 1 last one each leg. And then rest back down. So we're isolating our hamstrings when we do that. And we're trying to again separate the movements of the hamstrings from the abs. We want them to be able to work individually, keeping that back flat. Perfect. Next one we're going to do, bring the hands back by the side. So the palms are facing down to the mat. You can turn your head to the side, or you can tuck the chin in, rest the forehead onto the mat. You're going to pinch the shoulders back, lift the hands up, squeeze the abs, and turn the thumbs out and up. Lift the chest and lower. 1, 2. Reach the hands to the bottom of the mat. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Really squeeze that shoulder blades as you lift the chest. 10. And then rest back down. We're going to turn it onto our side next. So flat down on our side. Rest the head onto your bottom hand. Top hand onto your pelvis. We're going to lift and lower the top leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Keep the pelvis still. 7, 8. So the bones here in the pelvis shouldn't move. And 10. Hold the leg up and cycle forward. 1, 2. Try to keep the pelvis still, to move around a little bit more with this one. But what I want you to focus on is keeping that shin parallel to the floor. So we don't want the knee drifting down like this. Keep the knee in line, same line all the time. Running back and forward. 1 more. And change directions. Good. Make sure as well the pelvis doesn't start rolling back and forward, shaking forward and back. Keep the pelvis as still as you can and that shin parallel to the floor. Good, so we don't want the leg up too high where the foot comes up. We don't want the foot dragging down off the floor. The shin stays parallel the whole time. Last one. And rest the leg down. Turn over onto the opposite side now. So again, back line up with the back of the mat. Feet to the front corner. We're going to push the top heel away from the body and lift and lower top leg. 1, 2, 3. Make sure the top hip is directly over the bottom hip. 5. Make sure it doesn't lean back like that. We're getting the quads down. 6. Toes point straight forward. 7, 8, 9, 10. Lift and hold and cycle forward. 1, 2, 3. Remember the shin stays parallel. 4. Make sure the knee doesn't drop down at the end. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And go backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest the top leg down. Next one, straighten the legs back along the mat. We're going to come up onto the elbow. But what we're going to do is, if you want to bend the knees, we'll start this way today. And just move that out of the way. So we're going to start with the knees bent. Straight line from the knees through the hips to the shoulder. Start with the elbow below the shoulder, but just slightly down towards the hips. So it's not up like this. Below the shoulder, but closer to the hips. Top hand onto the top hip. Push the pelvis forward into a nice straight line. But keep the rib cage down. Lift and lower. 1, 2, 3. So we're working lower traps here. 4, creating stability through the upper arm. 5, we're working our obliques. 6, and we're working our glutes on the bottom. 7, 8, if you find this is easy, straighten the legs. 9, and 10, and lower down. Perfect. Spin around to the other side. There's lots of spinning this class today. Again, on your side here, have the elbow below the shoulder, closer to the hips. Straight line running down the body. Make sure the spine is straight. Top hand onto the top hip. And lift and lower. 2. So when I lift the hips, you find my elbows directly below the shoulder. So all my weight is pushing straight down through the arm. I'm not putting too much pressure through the shoulder joint itself. Good. 6. You notice my spine stays straight the whole time. 7, 8, and it's my pelvis, my hips that lift up and down. 9, 10, and rest back down. Perfect. Couple of stretches at the end. Sit up nice and tall. Right here to the right shoulder, and look straight ahead or slightly up. I'm going to get the scaling and the upper trap muscles on our left side. Perfect. And then over to the opposite side. Again, stretching the ear to the shoulder, dropping the right shoulder down, feeling a gentle stretch through that right side. And just holding that stretch there. Great. And that's it for today's class. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week. I'm going to work a little bit more in the back in February. Bye bye.